Okay, so this is a tutorial on how to draw kind of more of a technical diagram. So one of the key things here to remember are you want to have a sense of proportion, proper proportion. So units / scale and clarity. So what's different about a technical drawing from more of a kind of gestural emotional drawing is this is going to look much more like an engineering spec than something that's meant to kind of feel like a super groovy, kind of emotive, kind of exciting type of drawing. This one is about technical clarity. So in order to do that, one of the things you will need is some kind of straight edge. That's my dog, and that's just going to be the world of lectures in the time of Corona. Okay, so I have this one. I really like it because it's transparent. I know not everyone will. If you don't, let's see. So a couple of things. There are lots of options for straight edges around. You could use a block of Post-its. Like so. You can use and I'm just grabbing things that happen to be on the table here. You can use the edge of an envelope, right? Basically anything that's thicker than, kind of typical cardstock. Envelopes have a nice edge. Anyway, the other thing you'll need is some kind of writing implements. So having a pencil with an eraser, I don't know if this, yes, it does. So this you may want to erase, but I think like a kind of relatively fine point pencil. I've got this one here as well. So anyway, just pencils that you have around, but I think that the key thing is having a decent straight edge. And again, if you don't have a good ruler, you can always use something you have around the house. The other thing I want to note here is that I'm using scrap paper. Ideally, scrap paper, you'll be able to use clean paper because it's going to make a better scan. The one benefit of scrap paper is that I can actually use the type on this, I'm seeing through it, as a way to kind of just make sure I'm at 90 degrees. And so that's one way, especially if you don't have like a square or a transparent triangle. This is something where actually based on I can use the lines and the justification to start to figure out like a first baseline. And then from there, now I can go and I can know that, from here on out, I can just make a loose grid. If you happen to have graph paper, that's super. That can be useful too. Okay, so what we're going to do here is this is to help you understand how to draw things in 3 different views. So I'm going to pull up a new piece of paper. We're going to draw something in the top view, side view, and front view. Okay, so what I've done here is just drawn a quick little grid to give me a sense of some of my kind of perpendicular lines. Okay. Next thing you want to choose is make sure you figure out a scale. So you want all the proportions are going to be the same. So I'm going to draw a very simple stool here. Okay, and I'm going to say that the max height is going to be this because remember you're going to need to go. You're going to have an object here, an object here, and an object here, and then this will be that's later on if you want to do 3 dimensionals. Okay, so let's say my stool is okay, so I'm going to do that. I'll just do the width of the ruler for simplicity's sake right now. And then here I want I'll draw something parallel to, all right, so I've got those lines parallel, and then here, that looks like, I'm kind of counting the units there. And again, if you don't have a straight edge, what you can do is say, all right, I've got my envelope. I've made 2 little tick marks there. If I go over, that should come there. And now I know that this should come up. Okay, so now I'm going to outline this piece. Okay, and then what I'll do is I'll just faintly erase this middle part. And I'm going to erase this. Okay. So now we can see, and then I'll also erase these pieces. Okay, so we've got this idea of a very simple stool.